Hello, those who just come in, welcome. We will start around maybe another 1 or 2 minutes now. There might be some people coming in. Hello, those who just come in. Hello. We will start maybe 2:03. Okay. Yeah, it's about another minute to go. Yeah, we have more people coming in. Hello, everyone. Those who just come in, hello. Okay, I think I will start now. All right. Thank you everyone for coming in today. We are from NTUC Health. So today's talk, we are talking about 4 simple tips for healthy eating and how. Okay. During the presentation, if you can, maybe you just mute your microphone for a while, and then you can unmute when you want to speak at the end of the session, or maybe you want to ask questions. Or alternatively, you also can place your question into the chat box. Okay. And if you can, maybe you can turn on your video if possible, so we can see each other. All right. And of course, I hope that you guys will enjoy the session for today. I have been speaking here for quite some time already. So some of you have already known me, but those who don't know me, maybe I'll just have a little intro about myself. My name is Susan. I'm a case manager with NTUC Health, particularly in CREST, which is a community outreach team. Personally, I have been working in healthcare, social and community sectors for the past probably about 20 years. And in NTUC Health, I help our clients here with their physical and mental health issues. And at the same time, we also provide support to their caregivers and loved ones. I have a bachelor degree in psychology, and subsequently, I also upgraded myself. I also had my master degree in guidance and counseling. So I have, so 2 degrees. Still pursuing more. I'm a qualified counselor, and I have special interest in psychiatric rehabilitation and case management. All right. Okay, so for today's presentation is only for informational purposes, and it should not be considered as a medical advice. All right. So it would be best for you to consult your doctor or your dietitian if you have any concerns about your specific condition. Okay, so today we will focus on healthy eating and the 4 tips of eating habits. Like for example, we will talk about healthy plates, reducing our salt, sugar, oil, and fat intake, understanding food labels and symbols, and at the same time also we learn a little bit about healthier cooking methods. And then at the end we have a little discussion and then Q&A. Okay, right. Okay, so maybe before I start, let's take a look at what we are eating every day. Am I eating healthily? All right. So are we taking 2 servings of fruits and vegetables every day? do we know how to make healthier choices when we are eating out? And when we are out and about, going for shopping, buying our groceries, do we, know how to select a healthier, alternatives, right? What about healthier cooking methods? Do we know them? And lastly, how much food to consume in a day? Yeah. Okay, so maybe bear this in mind and later we'll come back to it. Okay, so healthy eating. Before we even talk about, eating healthily, let's look at our physiological changes, our bodily changes during aging. We might experience a lower metabolism rate. So this is a process where the body converts calories to energy, all right? We may also experience, a decrease in our ability, in digesting food, and at the same time also, decreased ability in nutrients absorption. We may also experience a decrease in, the sensitivity to taste, and smell. In the past, maybe we are able to taste better, our taste buds can taste better, but now maybe, due to aging, we are not as sensitive as we used before. And we might also experience maybe decrease in ability to chew and to swallow food. And there's also might have a decrease in our muscle mass and bone mineral densities. All right, our bones and muscles, yeah, we also need nutrients, for repair, building new muscles or even bone. All right, and all of these, due to aging, we might also experience, smaller appetite. We might not eat as much as we used before because appetite getting smaller. Okay, right. So what is a healthy diet? So according to World Health Organization, or WHO for short, a healthy diet is, able to prevent chronic non-communicable diseases. For example, heart disease, diabetes, and even some forms of cancer. A healthy diet also constitutes to the consumption of various food types, so different types of food with less salt, sugar, saturated fats, or trans fat. So remember these three: salt, sugar, and saturated fats. We will talk about it in a while. Okay. The statistics in Singapore, this is taken from Ministry of Health, on the prevalence of chronic diseases among us, Singapore residents, between 2017 and 2019 and 2020. So if you look at this chart, I think it's so easy to see the three highs that, day in, day out, we are always talking about these three highs about our health: diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol. Okay. If you look at these three highs, you will notice that between 2017 and 2019 towards 2020, there is some significant increases. Okay, for example, let's look at diabetes. In year 2017, light purple, 8.8%. However, 2 years later in 2019, the percentage increased to 9.5%. And likewise for blood pressure, also some gradual increase as well, 24.2% in 2017. And in year 2019, the number shoot up to 35.5. And cholesterol is probably the highest among the three, from 35.5% in 2017, and it increased to 39.1%. Yeah. So from these numbers that you can see, or percentage, you can see that chronic diseases are in the rise and it's always going upwards, right? Which is not really a good sign. So I mentioned about all these physiological changes. At the same time, how it affects our physical health, like getting diseases, illness, like I mentioned, that 3 high: cholesterol, high blood pressure, and diabetes. What about mental health? Research also shows that a poor diet can also affect our mental health, and is actually closely linked to an increased risk of developing mental health condition. And unhealthy eating patterns is also associated to greater occurrence of depressive symptoms and mood changes. So what are those? Like being sadness to depression. These are some of these mental health issues. Mood swing, low mood, all right? And it's also associated to higher level of anxiety, all right? And third one would be harmful repercussions on our brain health, like such as our cognitive function declining, okay, and also dysfunctional in our brain parts, which also affects our dementia risk. So in other words, what I'm saying is that it will also affect us. What we eat also affects, our mental health, like for example, cognitive functions. All right, and there's also an increased risk of dementia. Okay, so tip number 1, our healthy plate. So how do we actually look at, what do we eat? What type of food do we eat? So in a very simple illustration, we look at our healthy plate. All right, so this plate itself, okay, and if you look at the right side and the left side, you'll see a difference. On the right side, you see that 1/2 portion of that plate is already occupied by fruits and vegetables. So in other words, that these are the portion that we will need to eat more. So half a portion of that, all right? And then on your left, you will see 1/4 of whole grains and a quarter on the meat and the other types of food, okay? So for whole grain, we are looking at like brown rice, wholemeal bread. These are some of the example. And then for meat-wise, it will be like our protein, like tofu, beans, fish. All right. And besides, having a healthy plate, what about others, like the drinks that we drink? If you can, choose water or drinks that are, has lesser content of sugar. And then what about the oil that we use? Maybe choose healthier oil. And lastly, besides eating and drinking, make sure that we do our exercise, stay active, all right, or be active, right? So on that plate itself, let's break down into the 3 parts. Fruits and vegetables. Fruit and vegetables are very rich in dietary fiber, full of vitamins, minerals, and they also contain antioxidants. And they also help to prevent like diseases, like earlier I just mentioned, like heart diseases, hypertension, stroke, and even some types of cancer. And the recommended portion per plate would be 1 serving of fruit and 1 serving of all right, vegetables. So there are 2. And 1 serving of fruit will be like, let's say an apple, an orange, or maybe 10 pieces of grapes. All right. And for 1 serving of vegetables will be a quarter plate of cooked vegetables. So it's about 100 grams. Okay, then what about whole grains? So whole grains, we only need about a quarter in our plate. And what to choose? It can be whole grain or refined. So whole grain are like brown rice. Refined ones are grain would be like our white rice. Okay, but whole grain actually filled with dietary fibers, also contains certain vitamins like vitamin B and E. Also, it has minerals, and it helps to lower risk of developing like chronic diseases, which that 3 high that we just mentioned. All right. The recommended portion per plate, 1 serving, all right, or whole grain. All right. So 1 serving is either 2 slices of wholemeal bread, or maybe 4 pieces of wholemeal biscuits, right? Or half a bowl of brown rice, and or it could be 2 wholemeal chapati. Okay, So it depends on the choices or what kind of diet according to our race or our culture. So you can have different variety of what to choose, like what kind of whole grains you can choose from. Okay. And then the next one is the final portion is on the meat and others. So meat will be like our chicken, pork, beef, mutton, even fish as well. And other types of food would be like eggs, our dairy products like cheese, and some are plant-based. Could be tofu or beans. And it provide proteins, vitamins B, and even iron. Particularly meat. Okay, they also give us iron, and fish also contain omega-3 fatty acids. All right, and it will also help in regulating our bodily function. These are proteins actually will help our body at the same time to build and to repair our body tissues. All right, recommended portion per plate is like 1 serving of protein, and which is palm size. So you look at your palm, all right, it will be 1 palm size of, let's say, fish, or 2 cups of milk, or 3 medium size to small size eggs. All right, if it's a big eggs, then probably will be around 2. All right, but generally, let's say we're talking about medium size eggs, would be those that we buy from supermarket. That kind of size is about 3 eggs per portion. All right, or others would be like 5 medium size prawns. And for those of us who are, say, if we are 50 years and above, recommended would be 3 servings of protein in a day. All right. Okay. So look at this picture. This is actually taken from Health Hub, right? It looks at all the different types of food that we can eat typically, like every day, or throughout, like different days. So a different variety. There are days that we are, like, for example, on the left side, you'll see that this is the meal with the bihun, the noodles, and then with some different types of vegetables. So there are 2 types of vegetables, and then protein will be the egg, and then the fruit is an apple, and then with 1 glass of water. Okay, and then the middle portion will be on rice. Then you see brown rice. There's also tofu, and then some vegetables and water. And other times, maybe you want to try something else, like this one on the right is the mee siam. Mee siam also comes with the egg, some vegetables, some tofu, and then some noodles, bihun, and then with bananas and water. So sometimes it's like, if you look at these pictures looks like, food that we buy from outside. Of course, you can cook at home too, but if let's say you're eating out, if you find that, there's always a choice to make, like what type of food to choose, and what to eat. All right. So this is just typically some examples. Of course, there are more, right? Since there are so much of food, you just go to coffee shop, you'll find different types of food. But this is just one example here. Okay. So next one would be on reducing our salt intake, sugar, oil intake as well, right? So for sodium is actually come from salt. Recommended daily intake would be on average about 2,000 milligrams of sodium, or is 5 grams of salt. So that is of about less than a teaspoon. Okay, so this teaspoon that we use at home, all right, is about less than that. So if you use those spoon that has a measuring spoon, you'll see that it's about 5 grams. All right. So for example here, you look at this 1 plate of Hokkien mee that we buy from outside, from the shop, from hawker center or from coffee shop. Typically, it contains about 1,423, so 1,423 of sodium. That is about 71% of the recommended intake. So recommended is, I said that it was about 2,000, all right, mg. So for this plate is around 1,004 of sodium in just one plate itself. Okay, so can you imagine that how much that if you imagine that every meal you are taking this, and the amount of salt that we are taking is actually much higher than what typically on average that we should be taking. So when we are eating out, perhaps that we can have a choice, maybe healthier option. Like for example, we can try to avoid, there are soup or gravy. Try not to finish everything lah. If you don't, if you cut down on, finishing the soup or the gravy, it actually also reduce the salt intake. Or maybe avoid, dipping all the sauce like chili, ketchup, sambal belacan, and all this. Yeah, try to avoid. Or if you really need, maybe just a little bit, reduce them lah, not too much. Okay. And sometimes when we are eating out, we can also ask the hawker or the chef, can you just give me less salt? Yeah, you can always ask for that also. Okay. And then what about sugar intake? Recommended daily sugar intake, not more than 10% of our daily energy intake. All right. So it all depends on our lifestyle. If someone who are very, very active, you are a sport person, you do gym, you go jogging every day. Yeah, your intake of energy, definitely you will need more energy to do all these exercises because you're very active. Compared with, let's say, not so like every day I sit in the office, I just sit at a computer, or you are retired, you stay home most of the time, you don't need do like something like light housekeeping, or you only sit around like watch TV. You don't really do a lot of activities or a lot of exercise like a sport person. Then your intake probably will be much lesser energy wise lah. Okay, so typically, let's say for an example, for an adult, that is about maybe 10 tablespoons based on a 2,000 daily calories intake. So if you are taking 2,000 calories every day, that means it's like you only need that much of sugar. That's all. Small spoon, about 10. That's the max. But of course, if you think that, because my lifestyle is very slow, I'm not very, very active, maybe you also even can cut down even more. So for greater health benefit, you can even drop down to even just half. Maybe instead of 50 grams of sugar, maybe you just cut down to 25 or even lower if you find that you live a very sedentary lifestyle. Okay, so on this picture itself, you can see like two items here. One is the ice kacang serving, one bowl. Look at the amount of sugar. How many teaspoons are there? There are 8 teaspoons, just only one bowl of ice kacang. As compared to the tau hui here, the soya bean curd, yeah, healthier choice. When you are eating out, maybe you feel like you want to have a dessert, maybe choose something that has less sugar. You can always tell the seller, maybe don't give me sugar. Or if you really need to have a bit of the syrup, the sugar syrup, maybe just tell them give less. I'm sure they will be able to give you, Yeah. So of course, if you totally say that, I want to cut down on my sugar, then you say, okay, tau hui without sugar. All right, it's also okay, or less sugar, right? Now, what about fat or oil intake? If you look at these two, you will see there's a difference. The char kway teow, the fried tau kway teow, one plate itself has about 8 teaspoons of oil, as compared with the fresh light fish noodle. This fish noodle only got 2. All right, so 2 teaspoons compared with one that has 8. So even when you are eating out, even though we are not the one cooking, but we can choose, whether the food has how much of oil intake as compared with another type of food that has less oil. All right. Okay. So tip number 3, understanding our food labels and symbol. All right. So while you are out and about, when you are going shopping, you go to a supermarket, learn to read labels. In Singapore, it's also quite kind of mandatory that every manufacturing company or factories, when they have their products, they make sure they must have food labels. Okay, so just look at this example on let's say if let's say I feel like I want to buy milk, then I look at two labels for two types of brands or milk. Let's say milk 1 and milk 2. All right, you look at the protein and the total fats. All right, compare milk 1 and milk 2. Also look at per serving and per 100 mils. Most of the time, you always would see this, but sometimes it's difficult to understand. However, if you break down and look at it carefully, let's say you take 1 liter of milk, another one is another liter, maybe different types of milk, and then you make comparison and you look at it. Okay, so look at these two example. You will notice that, okay, milk 1, number 1, you'll notice that the fat content, all right, is much higher for milk 1. You look at the number, which is 3.3 grams, as compared with milk 2, the total fat content is only 0.1 gram. Okay, however, if you look at the protein, all right, content, there will be a difference. You see that milk 2 actually has 3.5 gram, okay, as compared with milk 1, which is 2.9 grams. So in this typical example, you will notice that milk 1 has a higher content of fat, all right, as compared to milk 2, all right. However, in terms of protein, you will see the difference as in milk 2 has a higher content of protein than milk 1. So when you go to the supermarket, if you need to buy drinks or food, read the label, all right? And then from there, decide which one to choose, all right? And what about, besides labels, there are also symbols. In Singapore, you will see this, you go supermarket, you see all drinks and food, they will actually have all different types of labels. You can see like some could be lower in sodium, that means it's salt. They are also lower in sugar or even high in calcium, etc. All right, just look out for all this when you are going out shopping. All right, there are also not just going shopping, in a supermarket where you see these labels. Sometimes you also see this label in stores, food store, in restaurant, in hawker center. Like on the right side, you can see this chicken rice store. You see, it says here, we use healthier oil. Okay. And then on the left side, this is a restaurant. You also say healthier option. So in other words, it's that all of this actually bind to providing healthier food to us. So even though that we are eating outside, we are also have a choice, to choose food that are more healthy for us or healthier for us. Okay, so these are some of these examples of symbols. Earlier I talked about the labels. These are the symbols. So when you are out eating, look out for all these symbols. Okay, and then this is quite previously when it started. This is neutral grade, is about the sugar content in like drinks. Okay, so it's grade from A, B, C, and D. All right, so we just use an example on the sugar content and the fat content, saturated fat content. So let's say compare A and D. All right, in sugar content under category A, the grade A, you'll notice that sugar content for A is less than or equal to 1, or no sweetener at all. So that means it's only less than or equal to 1 grams per 100 mils of that drink. That will be the sugar content itself. As compared with D, it has more than 10 grams of sugar content per 100 mils. What about fat content? Look at A. A is only about 0.7, less than 0.7 or equal to 0.7 grams. However, if you look at D, the number changes to 2.8. So in other words, that if you have two types of drinks, all right, A has lesser content of sugar and saturated fat, while D has the most. And then B and C are in between. Okay, right? In Singapore, also we are also restricted by mandatory labeling, yeah, in all our drinks and some food. And those who fall, let's say like neutral grade D, they probably might not be even able to advertise like on TV or social media, right? Okay, so what about which option you think that is healthier? Like personally, I usually try to choose like drinks with no sugar. So those drinks that have 0% of sugar or no sugar, no sweetener, most of the time is always at neutral grade A. All right. And full cream milk on average about 8% of sugar, and that falls under neutral grade C. All right. So even for milk, no doubt that milk also has fat content, sugar content. However, if you compare, let's say, full cream milk and maybe low fat milk, you will see a difference. Maybe if you think that full cream milk might be a bit too much of sugar, or maybe the fat content a bit too high, then you also can choose those which are low fat. Okay, right? Then what about healthier cooking methods? All right. Here, if we are at home or you're eating out, you will always see fried food everywhere. Okay, especially outside, you just go to any, whether is it a fast food restaurant, it's a hawker center, coffee shop, or even in restaurant, you will see the different types of cooking method. All right. So compare these two. One is deep frying and the other is stir frying. All right. So which one you think that is much better? Right. When we deep fry, we need to use a lot of oil, right? As compared to if we only stir fry, you don't eat you don't actually add that much of oil to cook. All right. There are also some other healthier choice that we can make. Like for example, we can like bake, stew, maybe boil or even steam. Okay, when we are eating out, we also can make some choices lah. You can see what kind of food. Sometimes it could be some steamed fish. It's also okay. Stir fried vegetables, right? And of course, if you are at home, you have all the choices you want in terms of like what to cook, what type of oil to use, how much salt and sugar you want to add into your food. Okay, right. So let's have a little discussion here. Look at this scenario. Mr. Tan, right? Maybe we can discuss some of the advice that we can, look at how we can actually improve this diet to be something more healthier. So this gentleman is 66 years old. He is physically, socially very active in the community. He has high blood pressure, high cholesterol. He is also very compliant with his medication and medical checkup. So he goes to do his medical checkup regularly. He takes his medication every day. So typically, this is what he eats, on a daily basis. So let's see how we can improve on this. So let's say he is eating out. He has breakfast. He got kopi C, some white bread, and fried bread with like kaya, butter. Then there's an egg. Yeah. He used soy sauce, like dark sauce, maybe a bit of pepper. Then for lunch, he got char kway teow, and then he wants some dessert. Then he buys ice kacang, and then for dinner he has one bowl of white rice, and then also a dinner with some stir fried vegetable. So what do you think? How we can improve on this? Anyone? Okay, my take on this perhaps we can remember that I mentioned about we can actually ask the seller or the chef or the cook to modify certain food that we feel like is more or is healthier for us, right? So the kopi C, I think steam quite okay without sugar. I think it's fine. white bread, maybe we can ask for like maybe wholemeal, right? Kaya, maybe opt out the kaya a bit too sweet. We can have maybe instead of like one slice of that butter, instead of a slice itself, the thick slice, we can actually have it like, you know, a spread, right? Even for butter, there's also different types of butter. Butter can be a full salted one. There is also half salted. There is also no salt at all kind of butter. All right. And then for eggs, maybe don't use any of the sauce lah. You know, the dark sauce because it's salty. All right. Then what about lunch? Instead of maybe we feel like lunch, I want to eat noodles instead of maybe char kway teow or the fried kway teow, we can opt for maybe something soupy, maybe noodle soup, yeah, with some fish slice also is fine, or fish ball, yeah. Then for ice kacang dessert, maybe choose tau hui, you know, or beancurd, or something that has less sugar or no sugar, right? And then as for dinner, we can have an option of maybe instead of white rice, we can choose brown rice. And then at the same time, we might also want to include some protein in our meals, like lunch also, yes, also can be included, like maybe fish. Dinner can have maybe chicken or beef, or mutton. You know, we choose different types, or maybe you want to choose tofu, yeah, it's also okay. All right, yeah. And then maybe you want to add like a fruit. Maybe for lunch you can include maybe an apple, and then for dinner you can choose maybe orange. This is just example. All right. Okay. Let's look at another scenario. This madam, she's 72. She has just been discharged from the hospital. So she has been, you know, feeling no appetite to eat, you know, because she's not well. She just got discharged from hospital. And so typically this is what she eat every day. What do you think that we can change from here? For the breakfast, you know, she has a glass of tea, yeah. Maybe we can choose like instead of tea with sugar and milk, maybe we can have less sugar or no sugar. All right. Oatmeal seems to be okay. Yeah. Maybe also need lah, like every meals lah, try to have like, you know, a glass of water. All right. And then for lunch, 3 pieces of Marie biscuit. So Marie biscuit usually is quite sweet. So if you want, you can also choose those that less salty one or sweet wholemeal biscuits. I think it's fine also. But because that she does not have, you know, much appetite, so she might eat a little bit here and there, like lunch also no appetite, only can eat biscuits. So if let's say if she really want to substitute, like I don't have appetite but I just feel like I want to eat just a little bit, and then maybe choose wholemeal biscuits instead. Then for dinner, we can cook with brown rice, then a little bit of veggie, maybe add a bit of fish. All right. For someone who are especially after we are discharged from hospital, we are not feeling well. At times that we might not be able to take, you know, one full meal in one time, you know, like 3 meals. We can actually split them into different meals a day. So instead of like eating one full plate of food, you know, for one meal, we can eat little bit, you know, throughout the day. So instead of 3 meals, it might be taking 4 or even 5 meals, but each time it's always small feeds. All right. Yeah. And then remember drinking water, right? If you like to have a bit of taste, like, you know, you don't like just plain water, you just want to have something, you know, sweet stuff, you know, maybe just choose those drinks that have lesser sugar, all right, or very little sugar. Of course, the best, or if not, then remember to drink the water lah, huh? Yeah, if you're okay with that, but remember to drink some water also, maybe 1 glass or half a glass. Okay. That also depends on your preference and, you know, your lifestyle, right? Then what about talking about food, we also want to talk about the nutrition. Some of us might have malnutrition nutrition due to inadequate intake of nutrients. Some of us, like if we are sick, you just got admitted to hospital, you came out of the hospital, you're still very tired, you need time to heal, need time to recover. So during those times, food intake might be much lesser. So therefore, sometimes it might result, inadequate intake of nutrients for all the various food. Okay, so what can lead to malnutrition? I just mentioned about medical condition. In the past, I have worked with quite a number of my patients who have cancer, and many of them gone through, like chemotherapy, surgery, and many a times after their treatment, right? Wow, they are very lousy. They are vomiting. They are, lose their appetite to eat. So we also have to find ways, to substitute all these nutrients. Right? And then others would be like age-related changes. Earlier, I mentioned about the changes in the sensitivity of our taste or even the smell. Taste buds also, not as sensitive as we used before. And sometimes also we find that also difficult to chew. That can be also related to health condition, like for example, our oral hygiene, our oral health as well. Let's say if you find that I lose a tooth or I lose a few, maybe you need to see your dentist and to have a check, on your teeth. Is there any decay, any tooth that is shaky, or if you need, or you already lost like one or two tooth, you might need to have a dentures. So all of this you also need to, if let's say you have not enough teeth to chew, then you'll find that it's very difficult for you to chew. And that also result in, to swallow the food. Because if the food is not being chewed properly, and then you force through the throat, you'll find that it's very difficult to swallow. And worst thing is that you might even get choked. And then over time, at times that when we were, let's say when we are younger, in our teenagers time, when we were a young adult, as compared with now, maybe last time I was in my 20s, I can eat a lot of different types of food. And then now, I'm already 60 years old. My diet starts to, change, and I know I eat different food. In the past, I can eat big chunk of meat, hard ones. I have no problem in chewing, in biting. But as we age, we find that we also might not be able to chew, hard, very very hard food. So because of that, sometimes our dietary also we change. We have different preference compared to previously, and then compared to now. Okay, and then what are the possible impact? If we are malnutritious, nutritious, we actually also muscle mass also start to lower. So we also feel like a bit more frail. Immunity also go down. So diet management, as I mentioned earlier, small meals a day throughout the day. If you find that you do not have very big appetite, you have small appetite, each time you only can eat a little bit, and then split your meals into a few meals a day, more meals a day, and each time is always more meals. And throughout the day, you will still get your daily dose of nutrients from all the various food that you take. Then also focus on energy dense meals. Like for example, make sure that your all the protein comes from like fish, eggs, meat. Meat also give you iron, also rich in calcium. Calcium is also good for our bones. It's not that totally we don't take anything like that, So a portion of it, a little portion, and eat different variety of food each meal and every day. All right, and then don't forget your vegetables, your fruits, your water. And then at the same time, also don't forget to do exercise. Slow walk. All right. So all of these coupled together, it will provide you, a healthier body and healthier lifestyle. So for physical and mental health as well. Okay. Right. Now, earlier from my earlier slide, the very first slide, one of the first slides that I shared about our diet, are we actually eating healthily? So let's look at it. So remember, just a little recap or summary of what, if you don't remember a lot of things I mentioned, it's okay, but you just remember these 5, okay? Yeah. So remember, consume 2 servings of fruits, 2 servings of vegetables every day, right? Choose healthier choices. So when you are going out, you're outside, yeah, look for those labels and signs or symbols, in the restaurant, and then you can ask less salt, less sugar, all right, or less gravy, or don't take the gravy or drink too much of those salted kind of soup, right? Right? Make healthier choice when you're eating out. And then when you're out about doing your grocery shopping, select healthier alternatives. All right. Remember to read the food label and the symbols. All right. So think about your lifestyle and then choose what kind of food or what kind of drinks to buy and to take. All right. And then also practice healthier cooking methods. If you are a person who likes to cook and you can cook, or there's someone at home that can help you to cook, I think that's the best. All right. Choose what type of, you can choose anything in terms of like your oil, how much salt you use, how much sugar to use, all right? But of course, if you can't, then at certain times you want to eat out, it's also okay. Just that remember to choose healthier choice, okay? Out of all the various types of food, out. And then lastly, understand your own body daily requirements and intake. So if you are a very active person, you are a person who likes to do a lot of gym, those workout, then you probably might need to take a little bit more, like you need more protein, you need a bit more energy, dense meal, all right? You might eat more. But if you live a very sedentary lifestyle, then your food intake probably will be much lesser, okay? So understand yourself, all right? And then from here, you'll be able to choose what type of food for yourself and how much to take, right? Right. So maybe just a little introduction of my team here. We are all from CREST. We are a community outreach team. So we provide intervention care for vulnerable individuals who have, very little or no family support, yeah, for their physical and mental health needs. And we also focus on like raising public awareness of mental health conditions, like for example, dementia or depression. We also promote early recognition of at-risk individuals, and then also to provide, emotional support to them, as well as their caregivers and loved ones. We also work with community partners on facilitating like preventive activities to reduce the risk of health issues. And at the same time, also we conduct meaningful like activities to support our clients' well-being. At the same time, also stimulate their cognitive function, because some of our clients has dementia, and so therefore we also provide the support to help them. Okay, we also run a caregiver support group. So this is just some of the activities we have run, and you can see from the pictures. We also have a WhatsApp chat group where all our caregivers together, we gather like information that will be helpful for us as caregivers, and at the same time, to encourage and support each other while we are still looking after our loved ones. So these are just some of the activities that we have done previously. I have taught some of our clients and our, their caregivers how to like grow microgreen gardening. We make like we grow dou miao, and then we also organize some like handicrafts, art and crafting. On the left side you see that we make this liu shu 这些啦, those activities lah, like it's like craft work. At the same time, it's like a talk. And then middle one, yeah, we also have a very formal. This is run in our center, our active aging center. So we run some workshops for them. And then recently, also just about a month ago, we went to a museum. We went to Peranakan Museum that is near City Hall. Yeah, so on the right side, these are like after we had our museum tour, then we gather together to play some games, makan and eat together and have a bit of fun. And also, yeah lah, so building this spirit, supporting each other, because many of us who looking after our loved ones, and then we are together supporting each other. Okay, yeah, so that's us. If you find that while you're living in a community, we might not be able to reach out to many people. Sometimes we also depend on like people around them, to look out. Maybe there may be someone who actually need help. If you find that, yeah, if you want to contact us, if you find someone who really needs some help, then maybe you can reach out to us. So this is our contact number and email. Okay, yeah. So I think that's end of my presentation. Do you have anything you'd like to share? Let me see the chat box if there's any questions. Wait, you just give me a second. Let me look at it. In terms of nutritional value, should I go for full cream, raw cream, or skim milk? Okay, so hi, Barbara. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, also it also depends on your lifestyle. Yeah. But if like for me, I'm not the super active one. I do go do exercise every day. But at the same time also, because I have to work, I sometimes sit at the computer for hours. So my lifestyle is not the high one, it's more the moderate to low. So in these instances, I think for me, I will take like skim milk or low fat milk, right? So it all depends on what your lifestyle is like. Okay. Full cream milk also has its value because it has high in energy level is also higher. So for people who do a lot of sports, sometimes they actually take full cream milk. But generally, most of us, we are not sports people lah, and so for us, like for me, I'm an office worker. I also, have to do exercise every day, but I don't do like hours or hours exercise. Maybe I only spend 1 hour doing exercise every day, and that's it. And most of the time is like I might be moving around, do a bit of like housekeeping, cleaning my house, and that's it. And then other times I will be like sitting at my computer working. And so for me that if you lead like similar lifestyle like me, don't move a lot, but moderately you still do some exercise, then I think we should choose like those low fat milk or skim milk. Nowadays, there are many types of milk out. If you just walk around in the supermarket, you see like there are also milk that are high in protein and calcium. So usually, if we reach a certain age, like above 50 or even 60, right, try to look out for milk that are high in calcium. Calcium helps for our bones repair and all this, and then protein also helps for tissues, our body tissue. All right, yeah. So when you're out there, you go shopping, you look out, okay, and then according to age group. All right, if a person who was younger, they are probably able to take maybe full cream milk, but then as we age, you probably might want to shy away all the free cream milk, maybe take low fat milk will be better. Yeah, correct. Same. I too also on skim milk, yeah, or low fat milk too. Same. Yeah. And then you need me to show the previous slides, is it? Wait, let me see. Is this the slide? Is this the one you're asking me to show you? You can take a screenshot if you want to, take a photo if you want to. Okay. Any questions? Maybe there's anything you'd like to share with us. What about the senior center at Sunlove? Hello, you have anything you want to ask, or maybe you want to share with us? Anything? Maybe the Sunlove staff, you want to help your seniors and maybe ask them? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So on the chat box also we have put a feedback and a suggestion link. maybe you can help us to give us some suggestions and feedback to us. And maybe before we go, maybe let's take a photo. So just for remembrance. Okay, right? I will need Wani. Yes, can you help for the photo taking? Yes.
Yeah. Okay, is everyone ready?
Hello, hello. Put on your smile, everyone.
Okay, Ken? Okay,
everyone ready? All right.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and thank you, everyone. Oh yeah, before you go, Radimas will flash the QR code for your passion points. I think I will stop sharing here. Huh? All right. Yeah. I will stay around if you want to ask me anything. Yeah. Okay. Remember to scan your passion points. Yeah. This one is all for your passion card, right? Anyone would like to share? What are your typical, like, every day, what do you eat? Like breakfast lah, lunch, dinner, anything that is very different from what I share. Actually, sometimes I myself also is a culprit for all this. Sometimes I also don't really like adhere to what because I work. So sometimes you are working, you are very busy. You want everything would be fast, So you just quickly go coffee shop, tapao, come back, and then you just eat, and that's it. Don't even really look at what exactly. But sometimes nowadays I also very cautious. I go to those stores, I also will look out, oh, this one I think a bit too oily. Okay, I don't want. Then I choose another item which is okay, this one stir fried one, less oil. Then I pick that one. Yeah. When I was much younger, when I was a kid, tend to go to like McDonald's and then all the deep fried stuff, But now as I grow older, I find that all this food not suitable anymore. Yeah. I would rather not to have. Occasionally, once in a while, you want to give yourself a bit of treat, then you take. But otherwise, you just stop taking anymore. Yeah,
Yeah, Susan, I think there are 2 questions in the chat box not addressed yet,
Can.
One is on the milk powder, and one is on the margarine or butter, I think two not addressed yet.
Milk powder, it depends on which one that you're suitable. I don't want to say like certain brand is better than the other. I think it's more on like what you been recommended to take. Some of us, like for example, if we have doctor's advice, if doctor restrict you on certain food, or they advise you to take a certain brand that they find that is more nutritious for you, then you can always opt for that lah. But otherwise, I think brand wise, I don't really see much of difference. You do need to read the label itself, okay? All right, according to your needs. And olive butter, I assume that this is like butter that makes from the oil that you use is olive oil. I mean, generally olive oil is much better. Like at home, I actually use extra virgin olive oil to do my cooking. But I also use other types of oil because sometimes the taste might be different. But mainly, I also use vegetable oils lah. So it up to you. But however, regardless of what oil you use, when you're doing your cooking, particularly cooking at home, you don't try to use too much. Like my pot that I use are usually my pots are those non-stick ones, So non-stick one I use very, very little. Even I use olive oil, I also don't use a lot. I at home I don't do deep fry. I do stir fried vegetables and all this, or meat also. And my oil content is very little. I don't use a lot of oil. Yeah. And then, but because also when you're cooking at home, you don't really have to. You can choose, what type of oil. Outside, I also eat out because I work. And so therefore there's not the choice lah. So I look for some of these symbols, like some of those hawker, they actually says that, oh, they use healthier oil. Then maybe I will buy more from that hawker. Okay, yeah. So I think that's about all. I think most of us already left. I just thank Radhima, Cici, and everyone in the participation. So next week will be in Chinese. So another colleague will do the presentation. And also, I think coming Friday is, I think it's Wednesday is Vesak Day. So I wish everyone happy Vesak Day. So we'll see you again next week. All right. Bye. Take care. Take care. Yeah.